This video is brought to you by Bitbox NES game cases. There is no better way to protect, store, and show off your NES game collection. Only available at stoneagegamer.com/bitbox.
Skip it up and that up.
It just seems that the bad news about the Xbox One, about its hardware capabilities, won't stop, and they always seem to be sending Phil Harrison out to clean up the mess. So earlier this week, Rebellion Games, they make the awesome and, in my opinion, underrated Sniper Elite series. They're working on Sniper Elite 3, and they said that the ES RAM in the Xbox One, it's not that it's hard to work with, there's just not enough of it. And so they say that's the reason why it's tough to make 1080p games for the Xbox One. Okay, so Phil Harrison goes on Twitter today and defends the Xbox One, saying, yeah, we can do 1080p games. And the two games he uses as examples are Forza 5 and Kinect Sports Rivals. Let that sink in. Forza 5, which is a racing game. Racing games were in native HD resolutions on the 7th gen consoles. And Kinect Sports Rivals, which is about as demanding as a smartphone game. Now, to add even more insult to injury, Titanfall. It's coming out in March. I'm looking forward to that game big time. I'm getting it for the Xbox One. Yes, I know it's coming to PC, but I don't feel like dealing with the keyboard warriors, okay? Abby Heppy, I think it's how you say her name. She was on a Titanfall blog, and she was saying, and I said this, she was saying the game is going to be running at 792p, which is a funky resolution. And a lot of you guys jumped on me saying, oh, Rich, it's just the alpha. It could be 1080p. And I'm thinking to myself, if they have that much bandwidth, why would they only make the alpha 720p? It makes no sense. And what makes this horrible, is they're just using, for Titanfall, a heavily modified version of the Source engine, which was used in Half-Life 2 originally back in 2004. It's over a decade-old engine, or around a decade old. It's over a 10-year-old engine, and the Xbox One cannot run it at 1080p 60 frames a second. Now, in Microsoft and the Xbox One's defense, I hear they're coming out with an update to the Xbox One dev kit, which will allow developers to utilize the ES RAM more and other things, and maybe it will be easier to make 1080p games. But this is not good news all around, and it shows that Microsoft bet way too much on the entertainment crap, and now it's biting them in the ass. There's no reason, like I've said 8,000,000,001 times before, when HD resolution, 720p and 1080p have been a thing since like 2003, that we should have a console that was released in late 2013 that cannot reach 1080p. What I'm hoping is, because this is going to be a long generation, and it's going to be a painful one if we have sub 1080p games for the Xbox One, what I'm hoping is that developers really wrap their mind around the ES RAM and create engines that could really utilize it, and the fact, and hopefully it is true that there is enough of it in there, and we start to see 1080p games come all the time for the Xbox One. But man, imagine in like, once again, 10-year cycle they keep talking about. Imagine in like 2018 when people like 4K TVs are like Walmart for $200, your Microsoft's gaming console has games that are still running at 720p, or if an engine's demanding enough, even sub HD. I don't know what you were thinking, Microsoft. You really tried to make the Xbox One this all-in-one family entertainment thing, and it's not going to work out for you. And like I've said before, all the TV stuff is all fine and dandy, but no offense, I'll just use Netflix and Hulu on the PS4 or on my PC or on the Xbox One like I do now. You put all this extra shit in that in 2014, no one really gives a shit about. Like the whole TV thing, you should have focused on that more maybe with the Xbox 360. Now it's too little too late, and you cut corners with the hardware power to shove all this shit in when no one really wants it. You know, and I've talked about the Kinect a billion times, not going there again, so Let's just leave the Kinect be. I've beaten that thing to death. Alright folks, who do you think is telling the truth here? Rebellion Games, that there's not enough ES RAM to get 1080p games out of the Xbox One? Or do you think Phil Harrison's telling the truth and the console is plenty capable and we will see plenty of 1080p games on the Xbox One in the future? Now, excuse me, this is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. I'm going to go impress my friends with some 1080p Kinect Sports rivals. And then most likely they'll punch me in the face and laugh at me. Have a good one.